Hello, Western Heights family. Here's your Wednesday Minister Moment. Over the last few days, I've spent some time talking to some people who have been going through some suffering. What I've discovered through time is that when people experience great suffering, it can be really difficult to hold on to hope. It got me to thinking about when Jesus was on the cross. If you remember, he was crucified in between two other criminals who were also being crucified. They had committed crimes that were worthy of death. And among them, I guess gathered around them, was a crowd of people, many of them religious people who wanted Jesus dead. They were saying things to Jesus like, if you're really the Son of God, then prove it. Come down from the cross. Others would say, oh, he could save others, but he can't save himself. And they hurled abuse at him through their words. Even one of the criminals got in on it. He said, really, if you're really the Messiah, then prove it and save yourself and then save us too. But the second criminal didn't respond in that way. In fact, he looked at the first and he said, don't you fear God even when you've been sentenced to die? We deserve to die for our crimes, but this man hasn't done anything wrong. And then he looks at Jesus and he said, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And Jesus' response to him was, today you'll be with me in paradise. Now this word paradise is a word that's borrowed from the Persians. It refers to the gardens that the kings had made so that they could enjoy peaceful places. It's used 3 times. This word is used 3 times in the New Testament, once here, once by Paul, and once in Revelation. And in those other places, it refers to a heavenly place where the tree of life is found. It brings us back to that idea of the garden at the beginning where God walked with his people. A peaceful place. A place of life. Well, the criminal, as he hung on the cross, was not in a place of peace and life. In fact, he was in a place that had lost hope, where he had lost hope. He was suffering for crimes that he had committed, and justly so, but death was waiting for him. And in that moment, what he does is he turns to Jesus. In fact, he stands up for Jesus. He defends Jesus. And Jesus' response to him is, today you'll be with me in paradise. Now notice what Jesus does, he gives him hope. But he doesn't take him off the cross. He doesn't save him from death. He doesn't free him from the physical consequences of his crime. He still goes through his suffering, but Jesus is there with him on the cross next to him. Jesus hears his prayer and he offers him hope. In fact, what he is saying to him is, it's going to be okay. Really, it's going to be better than okay. It's going to be better than that. Actually, you will be in paradise with God today. I know that some of you may be going through suffering yourself. Different types of struggles. You may have difficulty yourself hanging on to hope. You may be in dark times in your life. But I want you to know that God understands. And that God's children, when we go through suffering, that God is with us in that. We've talked a little bit about this in some earlier videos that I've done. You see, God understands our suffering. He knows what it's like to feel grief. He knows what it's like to feel lonely. He knows what it's like to be abused physically and emotionally by other people. He knows what it's like to feel guilt because he took all of our guilt upon himself when he went to the cross and he died for us. He knows what it's like to have all of that weight on his shoulders. what we need to know, and what I hope that you will know, is that God cares for you, even in your suffering. That God hears your prayers. That God loves you and loves you enough to die for you on the cross. As we've said before, God weeps with us when we grieve. Know that if God is there in the middle of the suffering with us, there's always hope. In fact, what he tells us is that it'll be okay. In fact, it'll be better than okay. It'll be paradise. I hope that this is an encouragement to you, and I hope that you have a great day.